right, welcome everyone to the inaugural Health and Wealth podcast. My name is Steve Giordano. I am the Executive Vice President of Family First Life Health and Wealth. Couldn't have a better first guest than three-time Pro Bowler, former NFL linebacker with the Chargers and Bills, two-time first-team All-Pro, Defensive Rookie of the Year, and now the head of the Lights Out Agency, my main man, Shawne Merriman. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, my man. How you doing?
I'm awesome. I really, really appreciate you joining us on our first podcast here. So with FFL now, I see that you're loving it, enjoying it. You are a hiring machine. So how have things been going so far for you?
It's been great, man. I think the funnest part for me is hearing the stories. I'm a big story guy, and I like to hear what people come from, what their struggles are, and where they're trying to get to, and how I can help them get there. So when I hear these stories in someone who are struggling or going through a certain part of their life, and then being able to change it because of the opportunity here at FFL, that is what, for me personally, that's what gets me going.
I love that, man. That's awesome, and that's really what FFL is about. So, you obviously had a storied career, Maryland, in the NFL, and you retire, you become a high-level entrepreneur. At what point in your life did you develop that desire to become an entrepreneur? Were you brought up with it, or was it later on through your NFL career?
Yeah, no, that happened when I was a kid. I grew up in Prince George's County, Maryland, in the Washington, D.C. area. And we grew up in a really, really rough neighborhood, and we grew up, with very little next to nothing. And so at that time, I started to kind of be like a little hustler in my own way, where during the winters, I'm shoveling snow. During the summers, I'm cutting grass and washing cars. During the fall, I'm raking leaves. And if that wasn't going on, I was like selling Nintendo games, right? I mean, it was always a, kind of a sink or swim type of moment with me in my life. So that started then, and it's kind of been able to transition into everything that I'm doing now.
That's awesome, bro. Now, did you have throughout your playing career, did you have people that really taught you along the way to become a higher level entrepreneur, coaches, just teammates, like people that really, because you were coached by some great ones, Marty Schottenheimer to name a few. Who were some people that really helped you along the lines of, creating that even more entrepreneurial mindset?
I had some great coaches, high school, college, pros, and so forth. But I give a lot of credit to my Boys and Girls Club coaches, who picking me up from practice because we didn't have gas money, buying me cleats because I couldn't afford cleats. My high school coaches that when we lost our home to a fire and was left homeless, who took me in. So I always say this, that when things happen early on, it molds people into who they end up becoming, right? I think that you got a certain period in your life that when things happen, it molds you into who you're going to become. And so when they helped me out when I didn't have anything and showed me the way and took me in when they didn't have to, it showed me the point of compassion and helping people and doing things and not expecting anything. Because even when I got into the NFL, and I've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to my high school and giving back to my Boys and Girls Club coach programs and stuff like that, but no one asked. They never asked for a dime. They never asked for anything. For everything they've ever done for me, they never asked for anything. So I developed a sense of giving back. Because you're supposed to, and helping somebody because you're supposed to. And so all that kind of started, way back then.
That's awesome. And obviously, coming into the life insurance industry with all the things you've done in your community and charitable things, you see what insurance does for people. So I know, we talked a little bit about kind of your resistance to jumping into insurance, and there were some other opportunities for you. What was it about FFL that made the difference, and what is it now you're communicating to your new agents as to why this is the place to be?
Well, like you just said, Steve, for me early on, I said no. It wasn't something I wanted to be involved in because I had friends in the insurance industry for a decade plus. And I always heard just bad things. They were working crazy hours, doing a lot, just all over the place, and wasn't really making a lot of money and been there for a long time. And so when it initially was brought up to me by a good friend of mine, longtime friend of Brad Alcazan, I told him no. And I said, man, I'm not, this was earlier during the pandemic and things are happening. Obviously the whole world stopped. So I have a MMA league called Lights Out Extreme Fighting, that's on Fubo Sports. And that got shut down. My TV stuff, broadcasting and so forth got shut down because no one was allowed in the studio during the pandemic. So, I went kind of having a pivoting like everyone else. And I still said no, right? Because I had a thing with insurance that it wasn't a great experience because I just knew what my buddies, my longtime friends were into, and they wasn't making a lot of money. So he then, kind of introduced me to everybody, and Grady, Family First, and Andrew, and then finally Sean Mike. And when I got a chance to talk to them about FFL, it took me about 10 minutes to make a decision, because it was a different conversation that I had with anyone else who was ever in the insurance industry. And so I'm used to being around a lot of winning, man. I love being around winners. You can feel it in a room. You can talk to people. You understand and know when you're around winners right away. And I felt like I shot my very first video with Sean Mike right at home. I still feel right at home. So that's when I made the decision.
That's really cool. I mean, you're absolutely in the right place, 100%. No doubt about that. So, being an entrepreneur, business owner, and obviously a high-level athlete, there's plenty of adversities and challenges that you kind of faced and you faced in your career. What were some of the biggest adversities you faced in your NFL career that you now take to this world and just to your entrepreneurship in general?
I would say the injuries. I started off my first, 3-4 years in NFL where, I was on a record-setting, just nasty numbers, sack numbers, just all over the place, and just setting some records that's never been done before, especially at somebody my age. And then I got injured, after my 4th year, and then I was just injured on and off and on and off, and I would just have these freakish injuries that, sometimes nobody even standing around me and something would happen. Right. And so I had to bounce back from that and I would say after my 5th year, it would have been easy for me. I ended up playing almost 9. I played 8.5 years. After my 5th year, I could have quit, man. I could have, after the second injury I had, I could have said, you know what, man, I can't do it anymore. I missed the whole season. I got to sit in the training room and ice and rehab and surgery. I was like, I could have just wrapped it up. I've made enough money at that point. But I realized that it wasn't really money that was driving me anymore. I was doing something I was destined to do. I really was. And that just wasn't going to sit well for me. So I just rehabbed as much as possible. I started changing my diet, working out different, doing everything I possibly can. If there was a machine that was going to get me back healthy faster, I was buying it, right? I didn't care. Hyperbaric chambers, you name it, I bought it. Every kind of electrical. My house was a whole medical facility, right? Because I was just trying to stay healthy at that point for my last couple of years. But having that mentality to be able to bounce back when something bad happens, it's where you really find out who you are. And that's really what it came down to.
Yeah, and I think it's such a mental game, I'm sure. And I think we equate that to agents now, like when you struggle, every week I run 30 appointments and 10 of them aren't home and 5 of them don't buy and some people get declined and whatever. How do you now take that mental fortitude that you were able to create, in the NFL and communicate it to your new agents on how they need to react to negative things that'll come on their way?
The biggest thing that I would, compare it to when you talk about injury and talking about, the insurance space and family first life is the letdowns, right? Like people hanging up the phone on you. I think that was, because I've dialed, I've been through, I've done the process. Hundreds of times, maybe thousands, I don't know, but hanging up the phone and things not going the way you wanted it to go and stuff like that, to to just find a way to overcome that. That alone for me personally was like, hold on, damn, they're not even giving you a chance to talk. And mind you, they're the one that filled out this information, right? So it's like, hold on, I'm not blind. I'm not just blind calling you. I didn't find your number on a bathroom stall, right? I didn't find your number on the bathroom stall. You filled this information out, and now you want to hang up. So I think that that was the main thing, and then two, you have to look at the law of numbers in this game, right? I mean, you have to say, look, if I book 7 to 10 appointments, you're going to have 2 no-shows. You're going to have somebody get there and maybe their financial situation has changed from the last time when they filled the information out. Somebody passed away, their husband or wife, or they don't have the extra income, or maybe they lost their job, maybe they retired. And so things change for them, so they can't get the policy anymore. But so yeah, I would try to compare all those things in bouncing back from any kind of big injury or obstacle you might face in football.
Now, like you said, you ran appointments. I think you did one on like Father's Day or something. You met somebody on Father's Day and sold them. How gratifying is it when you can help somebody and you see their financial situation and what it will be if someone passes away, when someone passes away? Like, how gratifying is that for you, being someone who gives back so much and kind of, the storied career and life that you've had? Like, how good of a feeling is that? Because I know it's great for me.
And you're right. And so the first things first, when you get into any industry, especially when you're looking for income, you're looking for money, right? You're doing something to make money. And there's nothing wrong with that, because you have a family of your own and you have bills and people to take care of. So that's nothing wrong with that, wanting to make money. So you get into any industry or any job for that reason first. The second thing is, for me, was being able to sign a policy up or sign people up and have them hug you on the way out the door. Like, have them hugging you on the way. Like, I just didn't experience nothing like that before in any industry where somebody's doing something like that. How many times can you make money and people are hugging you out the door? And you know why? Because you just protected their families, right? You just did something for them where they can sleep at night and don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing feeling, and Shawne says it all the time about, like, we're obviously paid, very well for what we do, but money's like the byproduct of, the people that we're helping and the coverage that we're putting in place. So now as you're, building your team and building a massive agency, how do you take some of the teamwork things that you had being a great teammate for as many years as you played to your agency, to the leaders that you're trying to develop?
Say that one more time.
Oh, just talking about teamwork and, how you take some of the things that you dealt with in the NFL with great teammates and coaches, how you translate that now to insurance and building up great leaders and great teamwork on your own team.
Everything is about team. Like, so when I was younger, I had like what I call the athlete syndrome, right? Or I can do everything myself. Right. You always think because you're tough, you're strong, you're this, you're that, or whatever, you feel like you can do everything yourself. As you get older, you understand the importance of having a team. This is why I want to go back and compare this, because it make a direct correlation to what I'm about to say. The reason why I didn't get into the insurance industry, because I heard a lot of people, like, you go to a company, and you name it, it's been several, right? That you get there, they stick you into the office and they tell you to start working, right? There's no team building. There's no one to help you. There's no one to make sure you're trained properly, how to buy leads, how to do certain things, how to call the phone scripts. There's no team. And so that's why a lot of these companies end up failing for that reason, because there's no team. And so the first thing that I seen when I came over, and those people I just named with Andrew, Grady, Brad, Alkaiser, Luke Wilborn, it was like it was 10 people helping me the first 2 weeks, like the first week. I said, man, there's no way that you can fail in this business with this many people who are successful in it already helping you, right? So what I did was, when I got in, and now that I have my own team of agents, it's kind of like you're passing the torch. Like the same way you got helped and you got brought along in this business is now what I'm doing. And I talk to probably about, at least 10 agencies on my team a day. And anywhere from, hey, where do I find this at? Hey, well, I'm looking for leads in this place, or how do I log in a Slack, or whatever that may be. And I'm talking to 10 people a day. But the reason why I'm doing that is because that's what happened when I was coming in. That thing is just kind of passed on, and everything that when you look at the outside in, is about the team.
100%. And that's why we're so big and the number one IMO in the country for a reason. So, what are some of the things you do? Because I'm big on schedule. Everybody will say to me, hey, Steve, how are you successful, whatever. And I say, I'm not special. I run a crazy strict schedule, buy leads, and just go help people. So what are things in your schedule to manage all the different entrepreneurial things you have going on in this business and everything else? What are some of the things that you do in your schedule to be successful that you think a new agent should be doing?
One is have a system. I think number one is have a system. If you're dialing at a certain time, dial at a certain time. If you're doing things at a certain time, do it at a certain time, and have a system. And don't be all over the place. Now, I understand that life sometimes like gets in your way and does certain things or whatnot. But at the end of the day, if you have a system going where time management is everything, right? I mean, time management is probably number for me personally, but for a lot of people, especially when you get into this business, because I think a lot of people get in this business, they're tired of working 60 hours a week, right? You're tired of working 60 hours a week. So that time management and having a system becomes more important than anything. And, if you're able to do it right, you can spend 30, 20 hours a week in this business and make six figures. You can't do that anywhere else. I don't know a place that you can do that anywhere else. Here you can do it. And so it's when you have a good system and you're on top of the time management, you're going to be successful.
Absolutely. So what are some of the things and challenges that you think the new agents that you work with face that you feel like you do a good job of helping them get through to kind of be successful? It's probably in that first 30 to 90 days, I'd assume.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Because that's really your make or break period, right? I mean, if you're not making money or being successful at 90 days, sometimes myself, and I try to not do it as rude as possible. I tell somebody like, hey, you've been doing this thing 90 days and nothing's happening. Maybe you should do something else.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to the point where, because I really do, I care about, everybody that comes on board, and I want them to be successful. And if you're not successful doing this because if something's not working for you or something you're not doing, go do something else. And so, it's not really being, rude or, just being blunt about it. You're actually helping them out because, after 3 months, if you can't figure it out, then there's probably an issue. Right. So, but the first thing I tell people is like, hey, get on these dials, get on these videos. Like, it's so much information. It's so much information there. It's almost impossible for you not to succeed. Now, you can succeed big, like very big, or very small, depending on the time and effort that you put into it. But at the same time, there's so many different avenues to get information here in every training video, every dial. Even this morning myself, I was watching, some other agents dial and, talking to them in the chat and stuff like that. I was watching the Zoom. I just kind of wanted to see what people are doing, because maybe something I can help somebody else out with. One of my agents that I work with, hey, this person is doing it this way. Maybe you should try this, maybe call back again at this point in time if they rush you off the phone. So I'm always constantly learning. It's not a day to go by, not a day that I wake up that I'm not learning something. And if I didn't learn anything that day, then I look at my day as a failure. And so, that's the biggest thing. It is use the tools that's there for you, that's free. And that's one thing I want to keep, I stress to a lot of people. You got this stuff there free. It's free. You don't have to go to no university. You don't have to pay for no courses. People are actually doing it there right in front of you for free. Use it, right? Get in the Slack. See what people are. For prime example, just a couple days ago, I'm in Slack and I get the notifications or whatnot. And I think I was shooting something for Hulu, and something popped up in Slack, and it was like it was the virtual sales training script, right? Because I'm like managing my day, managing my time, and so and they're really kind of getting behind the virtual aspect of it and doing things over Zoom and so forth. And so I didn't even know there was a virtual script. And someone in Slack posted the virtual script. And I was like, oh, this is cool. This is cool. Like, how cool would this be if somebody else seen this who are trying to, maybe they're a stay-at-home mom and they can't do certain things. I work with some agents who maybe got some family or whatnot that's ill, that they got to take care of them, so they can't travel and go to, door knocking or whatnot. So this virtual sales thing popped up, and I'm like, oh, cool. I sent it out to 10 people who I knew were struggling going to doing in-home appointments. But see, like that's free. It's free information right there in your face, and just use it.
Yeah, I think the Slack has been a game changer for, I think, every group, because it's just, you're cascading that information all over the place, and I think it's awesome, and I love that. This has been awesome, brother, and I really, really appreciate you. I'm gonna take us home with this. So I'm a diehard Miami Dolphin fan, suffering Miami Dolphin fan my whole life. I know you are a Bills Mafia guy. We play on Sunday. I will be at the home opener because I don't miss a game. Give me a prediction, if you will.
All right, look, it's a division game. And whenever we played them, it was always physical. When I was out there, and I remember Reggie Bush was on the team at the time, and that's one of my boys. And I tried to literally go upside of Reggie Bush's head, because that divisional game, it was just so tense. I'm taking my Bills. Sorry to hear that. 20-17. 20-17. I think the game's going to be.
All right, I'm going to go 24-17 Dolphins. I don't know. Like, we got lucky in week one. The Bills didn't look great, though, but I think the Bills they're definitely the crop of the division, in my opinion. Let's say that we should make a bet that if whoever wins, the two of us should go to the game in Buffalo when they play in Buffalo, which I believe is Halloween. And maybe what we do is we hire a bunch of agents, and then we'll set up a meeting in Buffalo or somewhere around that area, and do a massive training.
Let's do it. I'm in. Let's do it. 100%. Count me in.
All right, brother. Well, I really appreciate you. Anything that I can ever do, me or my group, any training, come out to you, whatever you need, please don't hesitate to reach out. This has been amazing, and I really, really appreciate you.
Anytime, my man. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, buddy. Take care.